Hey guys, how's it going? ItZMuRdA here, and welcome to L2PS2 episode for the NC edition. We've come full circle now in this episode. We played VS last week, we played TR the week before that, and in the first episode, 3 weeks back, we did kind of an intro and general overview and played multiple different empires. But this is the NC show, so we'll be playing NC the entire time for the full duration of it. Just a really quick background on the show. It focuses on all things infantry related, from general tips and tricks to loadout preferences, attachments, when I choose to play certain classes or pull certain loadouts, how I choose my fights and whatnot as well. And this one we're focusing specifically on NC, and while we will definitely be talking about things that pertain to all empires, we'll be doing a more in-depth comparison of certain NC Empire-specific weapons that I like to choose for different classes and whatnot. A little brief history of me. I've been playing PlanetSide since PlanetSide 1, the original beta back in 2003. It's definitely one of my favorite games of all time. And I currently play quite a bit, and I stream over at ItZMuRdA.com on a regular basis. I have a BR100 on each empire, so I'd like to think that I've been around the block at least enough to hopefully know what I'm talking about, or at least a fraction of what I'm talking about. But we're going to hop into game on NC Emerald for this show at the moment. This is like I said, come full circle, kind of the final of the original plan of 4 shows for this episode, or rather for this series. Next week's going to be SOE Live Prep, and probably the week after that as well. So for what that's worth, I'm not sure exactly what the history or rather the future of the show and the series for that matter holds, but I certainly hope to be back here again in the near future, either continuing the series a bit further, or perhaps even taking a new angle in a different series entirely. But thanks to SOE for the opportunity either way, and we hope to keep it going for many years to come. So one thing that I always mention in every episode, just because it's probably a little confusing if I don't, or if you hadn't watched a previous episode, is my map is kind of weird color-wise. I use gray for my friendly colors, and I use 2 different shades of red for enemy colors. That's mostly for the HUD and for enemy players and things like that, so that I can identify friendly and foe pretty easily. Just kind of ignore the whitish gray, and red is always an enemy basically. But it spills over into the map, and you can set those in general settings right here. So I'm on NC right now, so that's why this looks like this. 2 different shades of red, just so that I can differentiate between territory, really, more than anything. But it spills over into the map, and that's why it looks like it's colorblind mode or something like that. But I will be taking questions in chat, just kind of as an ongoing Q&A throughout the entire episode, so feel free to ask, and I will try to keep up with it as best as I can, and answer anything I see in there. First thing you do when you log in, or at least first thing I do, is look for a good fight, and for me that's typically a defensive fight, so I try to prioritize looking at the grayish hexes where we already own the base first. Hotspots are obviously a decent indicator that something's going on, and then when I mouse over, I'm looking for, preferably we're outnumbered a little bit, like Xtab power regulation's okay. We're actually outnumbered probably a little too much. It's probably being almost spawn camped at that point. There's only a minute left on the base. But if that was, say maybe 67 to 33% pop, had a little bit longer on it, I think that would be an ideal candidate. We have the overwhelming pop at Bravada PMC, so we probably have them pushed out a bit, and could still, be a decent fight. But as far as kind of analyzing them a little bit further, I'm just taking a glance at the different continents. I actually really like fighting at Cerro, but this is a situation where we have 65%, so they probably just have the C point, which you can tell with almost 12 minutes on the cap, so they just probably have one base at this point, or maybe even VS have C, and maybe TR was going back and forth with B or something like that. But it looks like we pretty much have it under control, even though there's 48 plus enemies in there. We have 71% now. Inovari South Bank, it could be a decent choice. I love fighting at EMC, or formerly EMC, now Matherson's Triumph, but not quite good enough pop there just yet. Either Zops or Mitsuda could be heating up for something decent. Hassan is still the newest continent, and so far my favorite, or at least the one that I have the most fun fighting on, so I'm going to try to get over there anyway, and and see if I can't pick a fight from one of those. I had a very brief queue. Or maybe the queue didn't pop yet. That was a friend request, lol. But you can spawn into any continent from the redeploy screen by just clicking on that, and then there we go, there's the queue. Alrighty, I, for the most part, end up playing solo a lot of the times. I think you can still be really effective. Looks like they flipped that point back, so we end up going up to Matsuda anyway. For the most part, I think you can be really effective. But at the same time, I wouldn't get discouraged from playing. If you don't have anybody else to play with, you can of course always join public platoons and whatnot from here, but I still think that you can do a whole lot and have a lot of fun solo, and Kuda Chop show on this channel is focused largely on that, but I do end up doing a handful of solo play myself as well, but I would recommend tuning into his show as well. Which actually will be on tomorrow night, I believe. I'm just goofing off in a Reaver at the moment with, you know, some anti-infantry stuff. I figure I'll fly around for a little while and then bail out when it gets a bit too hot, which is going to be right about now. Oh, just kidding. Apparently I was not light assault. It's pretty funny. Did I not select GD7F? I must have not spawned it. I must have just selected it from here. Well, if you're going to do that, you should probably have an ejection seat or be light assault. Anyway, I'm going to spawn as light assault. I'm running ACX-11 at the moment. One of my favorite weapons in the game. It's the NC carbine with killer damage and only 24 rounds in the mag, but is really just super lethal, especially at range. But if you need to, you can function in close quarters as well. I know I should have turned around there. Had this guy spotted, but I guess the other guys were out of range of radar. So anyway, for this I typically run the full suite of attachments: advanced forward grip, compensator, and high velocity ammo. Battle hardened in my implant slot, kind of as the go-to implant for normal loadouts, unless I am doing something specific that doesn't necessarily require or benefit fully from battle hardened. I also kind of default to light assault a lot too, especially depending on the base and where the fight is at, just because it gives the flexibility to kind of always be in combat, always get back into combat easily. It's really useful on Hassan as well. But the damage per shot of the ACX-11 is just unparalleled in the carbine category. So it's a bit of a beast. I'm running the full long range setup of attachments on it, but you could totally get away with using like dropping the compensator and even grabbing a laser sight if you were so inclined. It's not going to have great hip fire like a GD7F would, but it's going to be doable since it's a carbine. Even just dropping the compensator can give you slightly better hip fire, but as you can see, fire's not so great. I should have just ADS that guy. But you can totally get away with dropping compensator. I can even show, since I was just talking about it, running it kind of the opposite. As you can see, the cone of fire for hip fire is not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. If I would have had this loadout, I probably would have killed that guy, so for what it's worth, it's probably a good example. You're going to have a little bit more trouble with the... Nice shot. You're going to have a little bit more trouble with the recoil at longer ranges when you're aiming down sights. But nonetheless, it's something you can kind of play into depending on the type of situation you think you're at. If, for instance, we're... I was going to say some guy trying to C4, did he just kill himself? If you're in a situation where you're almost, never within 20 meters of the enemy, kind of just have a good vantage point that you're shooting down on them at, then it's totally fine to run the compensator forward grip setup. But we're in a situation like we are at the moment, where we're also engaging with them in pretty close quarters combat. Might be worth that. Considerably more accurate hipfire right there. Really like some radar at the moment. These guys are both pretty injured. Just got res, the other one was lit. I'll try to cycle through and play most of the infantry classes over the duration of the show as well. I mean, that's part of it. I try to play all of them. I end up playing like the support classes like medic and engineer less when I'm playing solo, just because I don't have somebody like in my squad at all times that's in need of ammo or heals or revives. But they're definitely very, very good classes. Whether you end up playing them solo and you're just supporting other people in your empire, or in a public platoon, or whether you play with an outfit. But for the style that I'm showing at the moment, it's usually light assault, heavy assault, infiltrator that I end up running most of the time to maximize cert gain and enjoyment, for what that's worth. Gotta have fun, right? And be able to adapt to the different types of situations fairly well. Light assault gives a whole lot of versatility in terms of picking your battles depending on the terrain and where you're at, in ways that even infiltrators don't. I find infil is mostly useful for situations where like there's a lot of vehicles and stuff like that, and if you weren't able to cloak, you would just get pelted by tank shells and whatnot constantly, and they kind of get you behind enemy lines a little bit, and then you can find your infantry fights. But light assault kind of takes a different approach. In terms of that. Well, that Sunder was, I guess, their only big spawn point, so you can kind of see pretty easily when the fight goes to crap, or when the enemies don't have any more spawns, and then just double check the map to verify and look at the pops, and then hit your redeploy key. I am not Phonic. Sorry, bro. Sorry to disappoint. Zots, I mean, Biolab defenses can be either very stale or very, very efficient. I don't think it's quite there yet. We kind of have the 60-40 pop on them at the moment, so I'm just going to check out some of the other fights. Moss Ravine, if we happen to have some good Sunder replacement, that could be pretty fun, even though it's attacking. There's the EMC fight, which I will maybe check out, although it might be super zerged. Check this out too, because you can get cross-continent reinforcement needed. Did I just click on it when it was too late? Because I'm sitting there talking about it. It's pretty funny. And get a spawn directly into the base that you're looking to go to. PS2 on PS4 is definitely still planned for this year, but a specific date is not announced yet. One of the other things that I do pretty often, wow, I'm surprised I don't have resources. I guess I was goofing around pulling libs and ravers earlier. I doubt I'm going to get a redeploy into it, but I'll try anyway. Especially since we have more pop now. But yeah, one of the other things I do like that is when I go to a new continent, or when I'm looking for a new fight, I'll just hit my instant action button to see where it wants to take me. About half the time maybe it actually is where I want to go, half the time it's not, and you can just cancel it. You can see right up here. In this case I'll go to Jaeger's Fist just because I don't actually have a spawn close to that. And then maybe I'll see where I can respawn afterward. I don't really know that we have much friendly support attacking this base though. Medkits are, I mean, I talk about probably multiple times every episode. They're super, super important to me. Allow for a lot of, in my opinion, advanced gameplay as any infantry class. And they're certainly my default that I run almost all the time. I almost killed myself there. But even like, for instance, when I was flying up to that roof, like after I get this reload off, it's worth having them out. If you know you're not going to be shooting somebody, like you're flying in the air, or just running away from something evasively, it's worth having them out so you can pinch it as soon as you start taking damage. I think a lot of people just kind of default to using medkits when they're injured, like they get to cover and then they use them kind of like you would with, you know, healing up or what have you, but they're just as good, if not better, used actually in combat. So when you get the hang of that, it's kind of just second nature. So I got to spawn an EMC, which is kind of exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't have the air resources, my instant action wasn't going here. But I used the instant action of Jaeger's Fist, I got a few kills, and then by the time I could respawn, I was able to spawn into the space. So instead of just having downtime, at least if you're trying to, you know, maximize your efficiency and gaining certs and stuff like that in a timely manner, I would certainly recommend just kind of looking into stuff like that. You know, don't sit around. Even on a base cap, I hardly ever sit around on base caps unless it's going to happen in like within 30 seconds of the fight ending. But I think kind of staying very mobile not only keeps it more interesting, keeps you having more fun in my opinion, but also you know, just keeps up your efficiency. Oh, when I was saying EMC. So I spawned as heavy there, using the anchor with the close quarters loadout, advanced laser sight, soft point ammo. Pretty much a staple, I think, in the NC heavy assault arsenal. You can do other things, like if you're going long range or whatever. I personally like the M6 the most. And I would run that with a similar setup that I was running the ACX-11 with originally. I tend not to run laser sights on LMGs other than the few that are intended for it. Basically the anchor and the GD22S would be the only NC ones. It's just better to use the forward grip and the compensator even if you don't think you're necessarily going to be at long distance. Just because the hip fire is so bad that you're just kind of like, you're adding on to already really bad hip fire with those other weapons, and it's just not worth it. In this situation where they're not really in the A tower, I could definitely grab an EM6. I'm going to have a much harder time in close quarters, but I basically have a laser beam at long range. Yeah, I mean, you can download PlanetSide 2 for free at any time off of Steam or at planetside2.com. So it's actually not that big of a download. Definitely recommend checking it out completely for free. Nothing really else like it at the moment. I know somebody was asking in chat, so check it out and let us know if you have any questions. We'd be happy to help. Let's see if I can't come up behind. See, those tanks up on the hill is what's making this kind of disastrous, which is one of the situations I was talking about where I feel like infills are particularly helpful before. But I'm going to get into those close quarters situations that I don't really want to be in with an EM6. Oh, that was actually really bad. I don't kill enemy turrets most of the time. It's like nominal EXP, and you can use them as cover when needed. Like that AI turret, engineer turret that was just sitting there. And they actually turn out to be really good cover whenever you need to. Rocket. Cool. So, certainly recommend that. Oh, why do I still have a Desperado on this loadout? That was a mistake. No offense, Desperado. Really long reload. Not quite a saw, but we're up there. Oh, I don't want to TK these guys. How's it going, Zeth? Oh, managed to TK that guy anyway. I think somebody just flew over my head. Yes, he did. Apologize to that guy real quick. So, a situation like that, I'd go back to the anchor, personally. Not gonna really be able to take on people that engage me at longer range. It's also actually a good situation for infill. So you know what? Maybe I'll just do that to kind of get a little bit of versatility. I'm gonna run blitz at the moment, although NC have a really good array of infill choices. The Cyclone is an amazing SMG as well. I tend to run both with 1x soft point. The Blitz gets the advanced laser sight, and the Cyclone gets extended mag most of the time. That person is warping through all sorts of stuff. The Blitz is kind of your much more forgiving, well, much more forgiving weapon that can run through multiple people at the same time, but has almost no ADS potential when it comes to taking out targets outside of like 20 meters or so. Whereas the Cyclone is significantly better at that. But then you have the auto scout rifle, Stalker, that does some serious work at that medium range, which is something I like pulling as well for like things like this range where I'm aiming down sights. Auto scout rifle is great for it. And I'm kind of hoping the new Arexium SMG is going to be as well. I end up almost always running Nanoweave, Hunter Cloak, Sensor Dart, medkits, and regular frag grenades. But I do switch that up from time to time. EMP grenades definitely have a situational group support utility sort of feel to them, as does motion sensors. I'm trying to see this dude's health so I can decide if that's a good idea or not. Unless you have the enhanced targeting implant, by the way, which everybody has, but most people don't use, you can't actually see health unless you're within 10 meters and have somebody spotted, just in case you didn't know. Yeah, that's typically what I end up running. Not a huge fan of the other cloaking attachments, or choices, I should say. They certainly are decent. They have their own situations where they're worthwhile, but in the kind of very aggressive infantry play that I do, I don't find them particularly all that helpful. But yeah, the motion sensors or motion spotters are really, really powerful in the type of a situation where you're playing with your squad or your outfit, and you're kind of up close and personal. And maybe defending an A point or a B point, or one of the points at a base. Using the default mag shot right now, just the golden version of it. Speaking of which, we have some codes for those that I can turn on momentarily. Since I'm using a pistol, I tend to only ADS pistols at maybe that range or further. I just kind of throw a laser sight on and go for the hip fire. I don't know if it's going back to CS days or what, but it's just how I prefer to be accurate with pistols. Especially if you're using like a revolver or something like that. The visual kick on them when you're ADSing is so much so that it's very easy to lose sight of your target. Getting a little carried away there. They still have some people up on this hill, it looks like. I almost never use suppressors, but this could potentially be a situation where, like, say for instance, I grab a Cyclone and throw a suppressor on it, and just because there's absolutely no friendlies in range of those guys out there, so it'd be really easy to hear NC weaponry and to see dots on your map. So when you're like super behind enemy lines like that, it might be worth it. And then I would like take a flash or something over there just for the fun of it. Used to roll Fury Flash, which got nerfed, but is still doable. But these days I pull a lot of Renegades just because it's so fun. It's still surprisingly effective. Wow. Sorry, Pro Taco. Oh my god. Well then. I guess I should have shot a dart first. That would have probably been a wiser thing to do. Saw all these guys ahead and none of the guys spawning back there. So this is interesting. I see a Sunder like that. I mean, honestly, at this point, I could probably leave this base and find something potentially better, or at least it's worth checking the map to see if there is anything that is. But, given the spawn of the Sunder, or rather the placement of the Sunder, I figured I'd grab another light assault loadout and see if I can't pick anybody off from the side while they're caught up with everybody else down there. Wish we had a little bit better radar coverage from our friendlies, but unless I want to grab a crossbow for very limited coverage myself, can't really complain if I'm not contributing too much. Oh, I'm sliding down the hill and I don't want to be. There's that in-combat medkit to save myself, though. Just kind of needs to be reflex to go to that. Otherwise I definitely would have been dead. I don't really want to be have my full body exposed to that Sunder. I spoke about that a bit on the last episode, but when you're peeking on enemies, especially when there's a lot of them, in situations like this where you can use this cover between you and your enemies, you definitely want to peek just enough for you to see whatever it is that you shoot at, and not just run up to the edge and expose your whole body, because you're going to get shot at. And they're going to have a lot easier time shooting you than if as little as possible if you was exposed. I mean, I know that's common sense, but if you're not used to doing it, it probably requires a little bit of thought going into it when you approach situations like that. So the Sunder is even further away, and I have almost no ammo. Don't see any ammo nearby. Another thing that I recommend often, but I run into so many situations where I use it, so I always recommend it, is to rebind or get used to the binds for your minimap, both enlarging it like this. Sometimes you can just play with it enlarged. Some people choose to do that, and that's totally fine, as well as zooming it in and out. And I use a button right next to my movement keys for enlarging it. I use W since I move with the SDF instead of WASD, and I use my scroll wheel, much like my map scroll wheel, for zooming in and out of it, which I find pretty handy for being aware of your surroundings, which is super important. I'm going to try to do something really stupid here and grab a couple of magazines from that enemy ammo box, since there still aren't any friendly ones dropped. I'm always on the lookout for this red ammo sign to see if I can pinch any from them. I managed to, but everybody died in the process, so time to hit the redeploy key again. Yeah, directives and resource revamp and spawn improvements and tank, bulldog, heavy assault rocket launcher adjustments, all that stuff is coming in tomorrow's patch. Probably the most anticipated patch for me, at least as a player, that I've been looking forward to more than any other patch so far, so I'm super excited about that. And I'll definitely be streaming it a lot on my channel this week until I leave for SOE Live. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to be chasing directives like a lunatic most likely for a while. Spawned over here at Andavari South just because it looked like the only potentially decent option. At least on ItZMuR. I probably should have checked the other continents, but here I am. Noticing a little bit of dropped frames, not the normal stuff that I usually see, but I'm not sure what that's all about. I apologize for any stream stutter or otherwise if you're getting any of that. Oh god, Max. In the VODs that go on YouTube, both on my YouTube channel and the official PlanetSide channel after the fact, they're uploaded locally, so there won't be any of that. So it's just for the live viewers. And it seems like it's gotten itself back under control, but if you do see it, I apologize. Yikes. That was kind of dumb. I attacked him pretty carelessly, but the power of the ACX-11 did so much damage even through his heavy assault shield. Just kind of playing to the strengths of Light Assault here. This Max has been here the entire time, but somehow I keep evading him. Just using all of the different vertical platforms that I have to my advantage. Jumping down, flying up whenever I need to try to both avoid the Max and avoid these vehicles, while continuing to kill the infantry that come through. That's the job of the Light Assault. Well, who am I to say what the job of the Light Assault is? That's what I do. Phonic is the man that actually can tell you what the job of the Light Assault is. Since oh god. Right, get out. There is some ammo up here, so I'm gonna go grab it. And we are back to normal. It's one of the issues with running certain weapons like the ACX-11, for example. They'll run you out of ammo pretty quick if you don't run an ammo belt. I try not to, because most of the time I can either, you know, play a pinch game of use my pistol until I can find ammo, or there is ammo, be it enemy or friendly. So I feel like it's often not worth sacrificing the nanowave for ammo belt, but if you maybe you're playing with like a friendly medic or something like that, it's definitely can be a viable choice to pick up and roll with ammo belt. I'm gonna give in here and actually follow these guys in foot circle a little bit towards their spawn. Another example of like killing somebody at that range with this gun, just not something that like a GD7F or something else like that could do with any sort of ease. And you have so much more flexibility, even using a 1x scope, which is what I always use. There's like the sniper out there and you just can drop people so fast. Oh god, I'm on a grenade. I dropped more ammo up here. I was gonna say I'm gonna go grab more ammo. I always tend to stick to 1x scopes just because I like it and because I have tuned my sensitivity for it and I like how that feels. So you don't necessarily need to do the same thing. I think do whatever works for you, whatever's comfortable. I think Kudo Chop is proof that you can use much higher magnification scopes and still do very, very well. But I think the big thing, no matter if you like low sensitivity or high sensitivity or 1x or 3.4x or whatever, is kind of picking something that works for you and trying to stick to it and be as consistent as you can across your various weapons and loadouts and attachments and whatnot. I think you'll kind of notice better performance, build muscle memory like that. So that fight's done. Maybe Kane, maybe. Seiro, it doesn't look like I want to do that just yet. Any tower we're taking. NC Arsenal could be good, but there's only 2.5 minutes on it. Same with Sungray and 3. Sungray is probably pretty camped too. Matsuda could actually work. I think I'm going to try to head over there. We'll grab the GT7F loadout for the drop here. You'll notice a much tighter cone of fire for the hip fire on this, but it's extremely difficult to take down targets at a considerable range. Buying more than 4 medkits while I still can. Actually starting to run low a little bit on this character, so I'm looking forward to the resource change kind of allowing for more consistency in that regard. A lot of guys down spawning over by the center. Maybe one of those guys and kind of shoot the guys around the center rather than just killing the fight that I just came to. If you're playing with your outfit or trying to play tactically or to capture the base or whatever, then by all means feel free to destroy spawn points. Wow, those 2 rockets. But I tend to have more fun if I just shoot the guys instead and actually have a fight that lasts more than a couple minutes. So that's what I preach, but you're more than welcome to do whatever you like. At the end of the day, unless I'm like playing in some sort of a competitive tournament or match or doing outfit operations or something like that, I'm just trying to have fun. So kind of, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I hope that it's more consistent and not that I run out of medkits more, but we'll see how much I spam them, I guess. So far, especially with boost and membership, it seemed like I was maintaining pretty well on PTS. So this is like a really bad situation for a GD7F, just because I was planning on looping around once more before I actually bailed out. But like this range with this gun is not very compatible. Since there's so many of them, I mean, I can kind of just put bullets down range and kill stuff, but I by no means am going to be as accurate as I should be. Hey Bias, how's it going? So they are still out there. I could potentially pull your shotgun shotgun flash at the moment, although I'm probably just going to get rolled over. Chances are when you try to attack Sunders with it, rather than like people who are just kind of trailing in, you die really fast. Wow, I'm so surprised that I did not kill that guy. Did he turn around? I don't think so. This is so bad. Yet, pretty good comic relief, and somewhat effective depending on how lucky you get, or otherwise. Uh-oh. If I get the opportunity to like go way out here and make sweeps on people and then come back without that lightning killing me, I might be in good shape. I am using, for what it's worth, the S12 Renegade, the shotgun for the flash at the moment, with night vision and extended mags. Not necessarily something I recommend trying at home, although it is increasingly enjoyable the more and more you get used to it. Uh-oh, lightning. I just have a lot of experience driving the Flash for a year and a half now, when I used to use the M40 Fury all the time, that I feel pretty comfortable handling it, even though I still flip it pretty frequently. Uh-oh, running out of cloak. That was no good. But, nonetheless, it's always a good time, even if I die after one kill or I kill 15 people. We can do it again if you want. I know it's not really infantry, but boy is it fun. The idea normally is to hop off, medkit, cloak, and then actually be able to kill some more people too, not to just take a rocket in the face. The ability to pull it rather frequently is nice too, though, although I guess that's going to be kind of normalized a bit more. Like right now I can get the acquisition timer extremely low, but that won't matter next patch. If you don't know, acquisition timers are going away entirely for all vehicles and maxes, and they're just going to be resource based as far as how often you can pull in. So at the moment, that's one of the strengths of the Flash, is that you can get the acquisition timer down to nothing, or even if you get it down to like a minute, it's still almost essentially nothing. They do a number on maxes, but you don't necessarily want to just open up on a max either. Sunder is down, so that's bad news bears. Uh-oh. But yeah, it's certainly my favorite vehicle in the game, and I think it requires a bit of tact to use effectively, at least at this point in time. Oh, this poor guy. Say that and then he's gonna like own me. Alright, there we go. Should probably kill him before I say stuff like that in the future so I don't look like an idiot. Yeah, I believe the base rate is essentially 1 resource per second deposited in a batch of 60 for the entire minute. And not counting boosts and whatnot, but of course you can pretty easily double that with both a resource boost and a membership, or at least get 50% more with one or the other. Oh dear, stop it. I don't want to run you over. So instead of just farming the Sunder, as appealing as it may be, I don't know if there's a better, more enjoyable thing to do on this side. Might not really be. They are at A. I don't know if they have another spawn down there, or if they're just kind of holed up in there from before. Oh, there is a spawn over here. Another thing to do, regardless if you're using a cloaked flash or just playing an infiltrator, when you decide to pounce and uncloak and actually shoot a target, try to be wary of things like this mag rider near me, being able to see me when I uncloak, or if you have a stream of guys coming from an AMS, try to shoot the guy in the back first so that you don't just get shot in the back. It's not always the easiest to do, and I've certainly had it happen to me where I just unload on the first guy I see, and then bad news for me. But if you can, it helps. You can also hit your F2 button or whatever it is while you have your auto run going, or your auto drive, keep up some momentum and hit a mech hit in the back seat. It's advanced flash tactics. Now this is an infantry show, but why not? If there's a good opportunity, I'll happily share my favorite vehicle. I'm gonna uncloak right now in a really inconvenient spot though, so see if I can't buy some time away from these lightnings. I don't have auto repair or anything like that, so I am smoking a bit at the moment. Handbrake is really good, although, wow, that kind of launched me forward. That was awesome. I wish I didn't have the suppressor there at that time, because I mean there was no hiding, and I would have probably been able to kill that guy if I didn't have the suppressor. But that was fun. I don't know what I want to do at this point. I could keep doing that because it's fun, but going back to infantry for a few. Oh, I totally said that I was going to do codes before and I didn't. I'm sorry. There we go. Oh, he must be just out of range. How much damage I'll take from that? Nothing. Cool. Alright, so I'm back heavy with the EM6 again, just because I feel like it's a sustainable class for this type of a situation where you're kind of posted up near friendlies. You can retreat to cover pretty easily. You usually can get revived or healed or ammo resupplied. And you're pretty effective shooting downrange for longer range as well. Wow, almost ate that rocket. Definitely want to Q spot your enemies in situations like this, especially fighting, you know, VS or whatever on Hassan at this range to better track them. But likewise, you don't want to Q spot people that are 3 feet away from you, where you're running up behind them, and just because you'll give the voice call out, that'll kind of spook them a bit. If I'm running a hipfire SMG or something like that, I often run marker for that very reason. It gets me a free spot without having to press the button, and it doesn't have the voice call out. Running the stalker at the moment, which is the fully auto scout rifle I was talking about earlier. I run it with 1x and laser sight just so I have some sort of semi-respectable hipfire if I need it. But I mostly try to aim down sights with it at a mid-range. Kind of allows to play hit and run infill fairly well in the right situation. Looks like they mostly pushed out of there. There's a couple guys still coming from the west, and the majority look like they're at B. Do I like the resource changes coming up? Yeah, I mean, I definitely think they're an improvement over the current system in terms of complexity and whatnot, or simplicity depending on how you look at it. I think they just make more sense for the most part, but at the same time it's kind of phase 1 implementation, so the system's going to grow over time. The stuff that I really like most about it is probably coming at later phases, such as the additional objective-based gameplay and influence that players and outfits can have on the system. But I think the phase 1 implementation of it is setting groundwork for something that makes a lot more sense as a game system. So definitely. As to whether or not, how much it's going to impact me as primarily an infantry player that doesn't pull many maxes or vehicles, I'm not too sure yet. I'm assuming, especially with boosts and membership, that I'm going to have a fairly easy time just keeping up medkits with it. I don't know if I'm going to get frustrated because it seems like everybody else can pull a lot of vehicles and maxes or not. We'll see, but I imagine that stuff will be tuned over time depending on what SOE sees as a result of it as well. There's somebody down here. There you go. Smoke. I decided to stealth there because this guy was running up on me. Thankfully he had a shotgun and some trouble aiming it. You saw there when I re-stealthed right before I engaged the guy with the shotgun, I kind of was running this way and then I stealthed and juked back the complete opposite direction. Not that it always works, especially if you're fighting somebody who doesn't have much difficulty seeing you, but changing that direction upon stealthing I think certainly helps the whole vanishing illusion a little bit, making it harder for people to track you. AV turret, nice. So this could be another comical renegade flash moment, or it could just end miserably. But we can try it again and maybe hop off with the stalker once we're out there, or maybe even the blitz might be better given the situation. I'm not going to have the long range capability, but I'll be able to take out a couple guys if I need to.
We've successfully defended the facility.
The whole 7-day boost thing is actually interesting. I think the way that the codes were made, at least these ones and other ones that have been given out as promo codes, you don't seem to be able to redeem multiple ones on the same account, because I ran into that issue a while back as well. Which is probably fair for what that's worth. It's everyone having a shot at it. I could probably take those codes down now. I was going to come in behind them, but it looks like they mostly got cleaned up. If you get a jump on a max like that, you can definitely do a ton of damage with this thing, much like you can with most shotguns, I guess, for that matter. Hey Dana, definitely. I hope you're doing well as well. Love that BB emote. Where'd you get it? Well, don't want to run over the friendlies. I think I was starting to say before about the handbrake, the spacebar. If you're looking to drive flash accurately and make 180 turns and whatnot when you need to, getting used to using your spacebar as a handbrake to turn you around without overturning is definitely very helpful. Let me turn off those codes real quick. Somebody remind me to give out 2 more before the show's over. Gonna redeploy from here. Just taking a look at Amarish and ItZMuRdA while I am. The very south bank's gonna be lost. Haven Outpost. Again, I guess a lot of my gameplay and the decisions I make just boils down to like a very go, 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 don't waste time sort of attitude. Not always. Sometimes I'm just laid back, having fun. But if you want to be efficient with score or certs or kills per minute or anything like that, I think it really just boils down to kind of cutting out excess time if you can, redeploying while you're looking for other fights on another map or something like that. But that's only if you want to, right? That's a personal choice as far as how you want to play the game. Haven Outpost could be alright. They probably have a little bit of a field fight going on here, especially if you look at adjacent hexes like Manny Tower. There's not a fight there, but you can see 12 to 24 TR there, so they might actually just be like at asunder or something right there. It could work for the time being, just because I didn't see something particularly better just yet, at least as far as the defensive goes. Sungray Overwatch, same deal. A lot of guys at Sungray, they're going to be pushing over to there. That could be good, and you know, momentarily. Try this first. If I don't like it, hop back over to Sungray Overwatch. Another thing, I guess, to add to that point, don't be afraid to hop around different continents fairly frequently or fairly often if you want to. At least at the moment, it's fairly easy to do that, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing. It looks like that fight is kind of already gone downhill. You can see the pop shifted over to here. So there's most likely a Sunder there, might be dead now. I'm gonna just hop back over to Sungray while I'm at it, and we'll see what that looks like. Again, I can check here. The instant action is actually Sungray. In this case, I'm not going to go for it. I'll probably just have a GD7F. So even if I like land up on the roof or something, I'm not going to do a whole lot of damage. Plus the base is really close to the warp gate, so I'm going to just come in with the Reaver and bail out if I need to, or when I need to. Yikes. I'm gonna be lucky if I even get one more volley of anything. Well, I got some kills, but I pressed my bail key a second too late. So that's interesting. There's a whole ton of people up there. I'm not really sure what that tells me. I think I'll grab Stalker loadout and just kind of investigate a little bit. This is where I was saying Infil kind of gets pulled in situations where I feel like it can avoid spam from vehicles, but I mean, yeah, it got me there, but then there wasn't much I could do. Maybe I shouldn't have uncloaked that soon. Although, another situation here, this thunder was a little bit deceiving. Had I realized exactly where it was, I would have just probably gone light assault and jumped up. Again, grabbing the med kit out while I'm in movement, and you know, otherwise not going to be able to shoot anybody anyway, just in case I get clipped with something. Running the ACX-11 again. I do still have it with that laser sight loadout, more or less, as you can tell, even though that guy's head was only exposed. Still didn't have too hard of a time picking him off. So, in the off chance that I get up close and personal with somebody, I should still be able to take him out, or at least have a better chance of taking him out with the laser sight and lack of compensator. Recall that the compensator does decrease your hip fire, cone of fire, even just a slight bit. It still does. Yeah, Strider, I do definitely like motion spotters, but for situations where I'm going to be relatively stationary, like maybe at the moment it would be good. We're kind of just defending A. if I'm kind of hanging around a point or whatever, they're amazing to just plop down. But if I'm being aggressive or offensive, then I usually roll with the darts instead. More just light assault, general thought process, ideology, whatever you want to call it, trying to find angles that people aren't expecting attacks from because they have these, you know, invisible front lines that are set here and wherever, and, you know, just kind of try to manipulate that a little bit. Which is something I don't know, I just find pretty compelling about the class. Not really like, oh, shoot him in the back type of crap, but just the ability to utilize, you know, a whole different... Should have had my my medkit out for that one. I can't say I'm disappointed with the Bulldog nerf tomorrow, even if it's a small one. We'll see. But anyway, yeah, I'm actually going to try a different approach to pull the Stalker from up here. You can see somebody's got a motion spotter down. It's very helpful. Closest TR equivalent to the ACX-11. Depends on what you mean by equivalent. I actually like the Cougar a lot, the HC-1 Cougar. It's not really the same, but it's the heaviest hitting TR carbine. The upside of it is that it has much better hip fire. So if you do run it with a laser sight, I believe it can even get an advanced laser sight, you actually have pretty damn good hip fire. When you need it, you're just doing 167 damage per shot instead of 200, but that's still decent by TR standards. So that would be my recommendation, although the T5 AMC has been theoretically, or for a while now, the go-to long-range carbine. But it focuses more off of something different than like the Pulsar C or the ACX-11 in terms of not being super heavy damage, but rather higher rate of fire, greater magazine size, so on and so forth. It's still a really good long-range weapon for a TR carbine, but I personally like the Cougar a little bit more for filling a similar role. Kind of doing something similar with the Stalker, like I was talking about, for infill. Has great potential for picking things off, and you want to kind of play it to. You can play it pretty offensively, but you want to play it to your advantage. If you have some nearby cover, like, you know, these rocks and whatnot at the moment, or this thing right here that I can duck behind, because you're still pretty fragile as an infiltrator. But this thing, I totally saw that and still smashed forward button. Nonetheless, is pretty pinpoint accurate, very, very good for an ADS weapon for Infiltrator. Speaking of codes, there we go. That's a different set. Really, really surprised how fast the hour goes with this. I know I say that all the time, but it's true. So anyway, as far as other official streams and whatnot, I don't know 100% the plan yet. I know originally, I believe these were going to be 4-episode series. I will certainly clarify when I know more, which would mean that this week would be the last week of Player Direct episodes for now. That makes sense, because SOE Live is going to be next week, and even spill over into the following week in terms of like Monday and whatnot. But I know myself, I'll be traveling to SOE Live and traveling back from SOE Live the next 2 Mondays. But we'll certainly still try to stream whenever I can, whether it's remotely or, of course, once I return home. And I'm hoping that between SOE and all of the players here that have been doing the Player Direct streams, that even if this kind of 4-episode series is up, we'll either, you know, bring it back after SOE Live, or you know, delve into some different topics and different episodes and different series, because it's been a lot of fun. And as I said at the start of the show, I really do appreciate it. I want to thank SOE again for the great opportunity, and I hope to keep it up, whether it's L2PS2 Episode 5 or something new entirely in a couple of weeks. And not just me, everybody that's been doing it has, it's been really enjoyable watching them and whatnot, so I hope to maintain that going into the future. There are still other shows going on this week. I know the schedule's posted a lot of places, but if you don't know or whatever, I believe it's generally, a general idea, might be a little bit out of date, is posted down below the stream if you scroll down. But if you don't know, feel free to ask. I can pretty much tell you whenever the other shows are on, but those are still happening, at least tomorrow, I believe, since I know it would be Kudo's 4th show as well. Oh, I totally recloaked myself like an idiot. I'm not sure if any of the Wednesday through Friday shows are continuing beyond or not, since they started a week prior to the Monday, Tuesday shows. But one way or another, it's been a ton of fun, and really grateful for it, and hope to continue it in the future. But in the meantime, I try to stream most nights out of the week over at ItZMuRdA.Com too, so my stream is often very much like this, same type of gameplay. I try to read all the chat, answer questions and whatnot, so you're more than welcome to join me over there if you enjoyed yourself, and I hope you did. Yeah, I'm using the AF-18 Stalker again. It's the fully automatic scout rifle. The equivalent on TR is the SOAS-20, and on VS is the Artemis. But if I missed any questions or whatever, like I said, feel free to pop by my stream or ask me on Twitter or whatever. I'm always happy to answer and help out. That's really great to hear, Maggie. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Or woman. But that's great to hear. My pleasure. Anyway, that about wraps us up. Had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys, and I have, like I've been saying, have had a lot of fun over the past month, and I'm looking forward to what the future has in store for all of this. So thanks again, everybody. SOE Live is 10 days from now. It starts August 14th through 17th, Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas. There's still time to buy tickets or even show up if you're in the area, so I hope to see a lot of you guys there. I will be there with Shandara and with a lot of the Future Crew guys and whoever else is coming out, and we're hoping to have a lot of fun, so hopefully I will see you guys there if you're coming. You definitely should, and over on my stream as well as here as well. So thanks again so much, guys. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you from SOE Live. Take care.